Ladies, chin up, tits out, and watch out for that flying shoe. No, I'm kidding. There's no flying shoe. But here's me with a review of Dynamite. Now, look, let me say this. I actually preferred tonight's storytelling over the actual matches we had tonight. Something about that was a little off for me, but I did like where we were going with certain things, especially with the world title scene. Things are definitely getting juicy. Now, look, first things first, we did have Jay White versus Penta, and I'm not gonna lie, I had high hopes for this, and this just turned out to be decent. We did have Bullet Club Gold ringside who are interfering physically, and that actually cost Penta the match, and Jay White ends up winning. Now, I'm not mad about Jay White winning. I think that's exactly what they should do. However, I was expecting something a little more explosive between these two. I just feel like while Jay White is on the road to actually taking the Triple B from MJF, that he should be having better than decent matches, because this is literally you trying to be the top guy in the company. So I just want to see more, even if it's on a Dynamite or a Rampage Collision, whatever. You can give us something sort of a pay-per-view quality type of match, because you're trying to show people why you should be the top guy in this company. So I felt slightly underwhelmed with this match. And personally, well, you guys know I love heels and I don't mind the interference or whatever. I just feel like making this a reoccurring thing for every match is going to get really, really old. And I just feel like we want to see Jay White kind of earn his way here and there throughout the story. So I just kind of felt a little underwhelmed with what was going on. Now, after this match, we do have the crowd chanting "You suck" to Jay White, and they pretty much cut the same damn promo that they cut the last two times about Jay White not giving Triple B back and how he's going to end up taking the title from MJF at Full Gear. And then we have Juice Robinson, who is letting everyone know that he's going to win the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royale, and he'll be able to get the ring, and then he'll go against MJF and take the ring and all that stuff. And I'm just like, all right, we heard this already. Give me something new. I don't want to hear the same old shit. I was just feeling a little underwhelmed with the beginning of the show, but things did get better. So now we have our scumbag MJF backstage with Renee Paquette. He is going to be doing commentary during the main event for the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal, blah, 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 blah. Now, Renee asks him about the title and what he's gonna do. Like, is he gonna get his title back? And he's like, he's gonna make sure he get his title back before Full Gear. And he just felt like a little more, well, not heelish, but a little bit more aggressive. Like he means business. And I'm just like, MJF, where was this attitude the past few weeks that Jay White has been parading around the USA with the Triple B? I want my heel MJF back. Now, here's Renee asking one of the toughest questions. What's going on with Adam? And right before he answers that question, here comes our trios champ, the Acclaim and Daddy Ass. Now, Max Caster is like, look, bro, you and the three of us, we can do an 8-man tag against Bullet Club Gold and help you get your title back from Jay White. Now, MJF is definitely not interested, just like he said last week. And then here's Max. He goes, well, how about I enter the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal and win that match, go against you for the Dynamite ring, win the Dynamite ring, and then you're going to have to take that ring and put it on my finger. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on here? And MJF looked even more disgusted, and he ends up leaving. Now, both Daddy Ass and Anthony are like, bro, like, why are you coming off so hard on him like that? Take it easy. And then Billy calls MJF a scumbag, and Max is like, but he's my scumbag. And I'm just like, this is just so dramatic. Like Max, he has a awkward thing about him that kind of makes things funny when maybe it shouldn't be. So it's just like his like awkwardness that made the whole segment a little bit more funny. But stay away from Max. Up next, we had Emi Sakura versus Hikaru Shida in an eliminator match. I hate these things. I don't understand what's the point. They face each other 10 times before, and Emmy has won 8 out of those 10 times. It's one of those teacher versus student type of situation. The match was another decent match, but I'm going to be honest. Hikaru Shida, she is definitely one of the most talented girls they got over there, but I'm not excited to see her. I have not been excited to see any of these girls be champions since Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter was pretty much doing like she was a heel, yeah, but she had what it took to be the women's champion. And for whatever reason, she was always behind the shadows of Britt Baker until she finally was able to break free from that. And she ended up winning the title. Unfortunately, she got injured during her title reign and had that match with Toni Storm, and Toni Storm won it. But since then, I have not been excited about any of these girls having the world title. So something about it is just feeling like a damper for me, even though the match was decent. These eliminator matches, this is not you necessarily getting a title shot. It's a match for you to get a title shot from somebody that you're facing right now. And I just feel like those type of things just don't make sense. We have, what's her name? Sheeta take the win with a katana. It didn't surprise me. Emmy could have won it, but then again, who's going to want to see these two at it again? Which is why I don't like the eliminator approach. It's like seeing two matches that you've already seen for what the title is just not going to change hands. I'm just not feeling it. So now we have Renee Paquette backstage with Kenny Omega looking like a snack. Now he says the promo that Kyle Fletcher had did the other night had woke his ass up, and he realized that he is the measuring stick up in here. And if anybody wants to make a name for themselves, they would have to beat him. And he says after he beats Kyle Fletcher, he is going for the top prize in the AEW, which is the Triple B. Now I'm feeling it. I'm like, okay, I don't mind seeing you in the title picture. Then here comes our scumbag, MJF, and they're standing face to face. And I am just like, holy shit, how do I get sandwiched in between these two guys? Now, I'm not ashamed to admit it, but these two are in my dream threesome. Tony Khan, make it happen for me. Now, here's MJF. He goes to shake Kenny's hand, and then he whispers to Kenny's ear, 13 days, bitch. I'm just like, 13 days for what? Full Gear is definitely not in 13 days. Like, what's going on? What he's talking about is Kenny Omega is the longest reigning world champion in AEW, and it'll take 13 more days of MJF reign for him to beat that. So is he going to beat it? Definitely. Honestly, I would love to see Kenny and MJF in a feud together. However, right now, it just looks like there's a lot of people with their eyes on the Triple B. And actually, I'm loving that because it just seemed like for a long time that there wasn't too much interest in that. After Adam Cole situation, being interested, then they became best friend, and then you didn't really hear anything about anybody going for the Triple B. And now we have multiple people wanting to have the title: Samoa Joe, Jay White, Wardlow, Kenny Omega. I don't remember if anybody else, but I know everybody wants it, obviously. But to have multiple men on screen looking for that, it felt really, really good. Now we have some bigger issues with Adam Cole at Roddy's house still. So now we have Adam Cole at Roderick's house. Now we have Roderick who's laid up on the couch chilling. The Kingdom, they ain't doing the damn thing. And then we have Adam who's making coffee for Roderick. He brings the coffee over to Roderick. Roderick takes a sip and he spits it out. And he's like, Adam, you know I don't like hot coffee. And I'm like, what? Now, Adam is feeling some type of way, and he's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out of here. And then here's Roderick. He's like, before you go, can you make those peanut butter and jelly sandwiches I used to make when we was in Ring of Honor? They were the bomb.com. Now, Adam's feeling nostalgic, so he's like, you know what? I'm going to make those sandwiches. Now, he goes in the kitchen, and we have the most dramatic scene of making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'm just like, okay, this is like over the top. And that thing that they use as jelly, whatever that is, I don't even believe that's jelly. I don't know what that was. It looked disgusting. Now, he goes and gives the sandwich to Roderick. Roderick takes a bite, and he's like, Adam, you know I don't like crust on the bread. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So your neck is fucked up and your eyes is fucked up too, because you could have seen that there was crust on the sandwich before you bit into it. Now, Adam, he's like, I'm done. I'm absolutely done. And he actually leaves. You guys, he left. Like, there was nothing ever holding him back from leaving the house. Now, he leaves, and Roderick is feeling devastated, and he realizes he wants his bestie back. So he has to do what he doesn't want to do, which is he has to make friends with MJF if he wants Adam back in his life the way that they used to be. Now, I kind of understand where Roderick is coming from, because I don't want to say all of us, but I know a lot of people have experience where you're friends with somebody who's friends with somebody that you don't like, but the two of you guys got to get along for the sake of the mutual friend. I'm pretty sure we've all been there. So I get where he's coming from. So I think from here we're gonna stop seeing the whole house scenes, and then we're gonna end up seeing Roderick on the show trying to make friends with MJF. If that's the case, that'll be interesting. But at this point, I'm wondering who the hell was it that attacked Jay White? Was it him in the Kingdom? I don't know. So now we have Tony Schiavone in the ring, and I'm like, all right, here we go. Sting's coming up next. Let me grab my tissues. Instead, it's Don Callis family. They come out, and on the big screen, they show the Last Supper painting, but this time, Powerhouse Hobbs have been added onto the painting. I'm telling you, I could not stop laughing seeing Hobbs in that painting. But then I was like, you know what, Hobbs, you made it. You made it. So they come out. Hobbs don't got no shirt on, just pants, belt, and shoes. Uncle Don is wearing what Uncle Don always wear. Takeshita is just looking like something from like some kind of kung fu movie. He looks absolutely amazing. Now, here comes Hobbs talking about how he had to beat Chris Jericho ass because when he was a kid, his grandmama took him to a show to see Chris Jericho. She paid front row tickets so he can see his idol. Now, when Chris Jericho got a chance to heckle at the crowd, he told Hobbs' grandma to shut the hell up and told Hobbs to sit his ass down. And from there, his heart has been broken. And I'm just like, really? To be honest, I didn't buy it one bit. But I like the way Hobbs looked, and I love the way he sounded. And I just felt like he was exactly where he needs to be in that moment. And I think he fits really well with Don Callis' family. Now, we do have Don Callis who gets the mic, and he's upset because he was like, the Don Callis family for the past 4 months have been on a winning streak. And then here comes Kyle Fletcher substituting for Sammy Guevara, who's hurt, and he ends up costing them their match. And Kyle Fletcher got upset, and he came out there, and he goes, look, I only came out and helped y'all out with your little match because Will Ospreay called me up and said that you were crying on the phone to get him in the match. So he called me and asked me to do it. And he goes, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have done it. And he goes, yeah, maybe I wasn't the best man that night and I end up costing the match. However, I will whoop your ass. And he's like, you know what? If you win this match with Kenny Omega tonight, you and I can talk business. And I'm like, why should Kyle want that? Now, right after that, we have Kenny Omega who comes out, and I had to put my glasses on so I can get a good look at those abs. We finally have a match where I'm sitting up and I'm 100% invested. So this was definitely match of the night. All right, so we have Kenny Omega versus Kyle Fletcher, and this was the only match that I think I felt like throughout the whole show was actually worth watching. Now, Kyle is much more aggressive in this match. He definitely has something to prove. And I'm not 100% sure if it's that he wants to join Don Callis' family. I just think that he knows that he is coming off of being like a tag team specialist, and he's doing things on his own while his partner is hurt. And Kenny Omega is definitely one of AEW's biggest stars, if not one of their biggest star at one point. So he knows that this win would be the biggest win of his career if he can beat Kenny. So with this match, Kyle was much more aggressive than usual. And I do feel like I've seen such of a change with his demeanor in the ring after having that match with Brian Danielson. And even since that match, we've been seeing him using the Dragon Sleeper. And I was really surprised that he was able to lock that in on Kenny Omega, but he was able to counter out of that. So it was really cool to see him have that moment. I'm guessing that this might be a finisher for him or perhaps a signature move for him moving forward. And, with Kyle being so hungry for the win, Kenny Omega had to switch things up as well and be hungry as well for the win too, because he got his eyes on the Triple B. He can't be taking no L's along the way. Now, we do have at the end Kenny hitting a beautiful V trigger to Kyle, and Kyle sold it so beautifully. Like, I mean, this is stuff I see in my dreams. Like, the way he did it was absolutely amazing. He goes for a one-winged angel for the win. I enjoyed this match a lot. My only complaint though is with them being a little bit more aggressive than usual, especially Kyle. I felt like there were certain things in this match that was done like with excessive force, and it was just like, hey, I get it, but let's calm down because we don't want nobody breaking their necks, breaking their backs and shit on a fucking Wednesday night. So that's my only complaint with that. Now after this match, we have a little bit of a stare down of Kenny staring at Kyle. What's next for Kyle? I don't know. Obviously, Kenny is have his eyes set on the Triple B, but I do believe he's going to go through the Don Callis family for a little bit before he actually get to that, because obviously Full Gear is a few weeks away, and MJF is dealing with Jay White and pretty much half the roster at this point. So I don't know where he falls in line with that, but this was definitely the best match of the night. The only one kind of worth watching. All right, so I almost forgot about this. I was like, all right, so the main event is coming on. Nope, we had the Nick Wayne interview with JR and Mama Wayne. Now, honestly, I didn't know where they were going with this. So basically, he had to explain to his mom about what happened, blah, blah, blah. Like, this was like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. You now explaining to your mom about what's going on. Don't y'all live together or something? I don't know. Now, he basically don't feel like he have anything to explain, but he's like, you know what? Christian, he's been there for him like a father. He's a better father figure than his actual father had ever been. And his mom is like, well, how could you do this? Christian has been rude and nasty towards me. He's talked shit about your dad. Darby, he's treated Darby disrespectfully. And Darby's been like a brother to you. How could you do this to him? Now, she's being all emotional and all this stuff, things that mamas do. And Nick Wayne is feeling some type of way and told her to shut up. And I was like, I laughed for a second, but then I just thought about it. If my daughter told me to shut up, there would be problems. Now, they're getting into it, and she's just getting highly emotional. And he's saying all these good things about Christian, like as if he spent 5 seconds with him. And then Christian comes out, and the way he just have this smug look with his head up high and everything, I'm just like, he is playing this character perfectly. I love it. Now, he's actually getting up to leave with Christian, and the mom is telling him no. And he's being so disrespectful that the mom ends up slapping the shit out of him. And he is mad as hell. And he tells his mom, you're dead to me. And then he ends up leaving with Christian. And then Christian turns around and tells her, you should have called me. And I'm like, bro, like there's like a family drama thing going on. Who cares about you not getting that phone call? Now, Christian closed the door, and Nick Wayne mama is crying. And all of a sudden, you can hear like an attack going on from the other side of the door. She opens up the door, and it's Darby, who already had Christian laid out on the ground. And now he's fighting, beating up on Nick Wayne. And I'm just like, whoa, this is getting really interesting. And then we're back to the commentator booth, and they're talking, and all of a sudden, Nick Wayne and Darby, they're taking this shit out to the ring. And I'm like, holy shit, I thought this thing was taped. I didn't know that this was actually live. I actually think it was taped, and then they just end up continuing the match from there. Kind of like, Mankind, Undertaker, Boiler Room match thing, where they finished the actual match the next day after taping it the night before. Something like that. Now, Here they come out fighting or whatever. And I don't know what Darby did, but all of a sudden Nick Wayne's mouth is just bleeding. It turns out like his tooth got chipped or maybe his tooth came out, something like that. He's just bleeding. Now Christian and Luchasaurus come out to attack Darby, and then Sting comes out and try to even things up, I guess, a little bit. My math is not that great. And he comes out there and he helps them out. Now, Christian, Luchasaurus, and Darby, they're making their way to the back and they're holding him up. This dude is just bleeding like crazy from his mouth. And the whole time I'm looking at Christian. If you really pay attention, Christian's concern is not necessarily Nick Wayne. He don't care about Nick Wayne. He is holding on to the TNT title like it's a baby. The way he's holding onto it, I kept laughing. This guy is absolutely perfect. I love this so much. So now we have Chris Statlander, the best friends, Hook and Orange Cassidy. They got matches at Battle of the Belts. So all three of them putting their titles on the line. And I'm looking at this thing, I'm like, wait a minute. Trent Beretta should be holding a title right now. And I'm kind of hoping we get like a storyline where Trent pretty much tells Chuck Taylor to kick rocks. I'm going to do my own solo thing from now on. And then have like this jealousy rivalry with Orange Cassidy and end up snatching the international title from Orange Cassidy. Can we do that? Can we do that, Tony? Because I really do feel like Trent Beretta is super talented in the ring. When they want somebody to come and show up and show out, they're going to call Trent Beretta, but then they're going to have him take the L as usual. So let him finally get his flowers and put some gold on this guy. I know he will look right with it. He haven't even held the tag team titles over there. This is just absolutely ashamed. Now, they have their matches on Battle of the Belts, which actually is not going to be after Rampage like how they normally do. It's going to be after Collision. So, yeah, 3 hours of wrestling on Saturday night. You can't beat that. All right, so now it's like 10 minutes before 10 o'clock, and I'm just like, what is this? So when it comes to these Battle Royal matches, I'm not going to lie. I have yet to see one in AEW that really felt like it actually served a purpose at all. I've never really truly enjoyed any of these types of matches, regardless of what the prize was in the end. I just never really cared for it. Well, there was one, that tag team match, the tag team battle royal, like at Double or Nothing or something like that. And it was like the Young Bucks, and they were to end with Dante Martin and Darius. That one I did like, but everything else I didn't care for. Now, moving forward, we had a lot of teams in this match for whatever reason. The Hardys were in here. We had Matt Menard, Jake Hager, Daniel Garcia, Angela Parker. Like, what is that? Why are we having teams in a situation like this? I did not like it. We had Dustin Rhodes in here. We already knew who was going to be here. And during this match, we had MJF who get out of the commentator seat and go to Dustin, give him several $100s, and say, get Juice out the fucking match. And I'm just like, you know what? We're getting shades of classic MJF. So Dustin does keeps his focus on Juice until his ass is eliminated. Now, the last three in this match are Daniel Garcia, Juice, and Max Caster. We already know that Max Caster somehow got the hots for MJF. So people actually wanted to see him win. He's coming off as a babyface in this situation. Last two obviously being Max and Juice. And Juice cheated for the win. He ended up taking out that fake ass Dynamite ring and hitting Max Caster with it. And Max was just knocked out cold, and he ends up throwing him over the rope for the win. Now, right before he took the win, here comes Jay White snatching up MJF from his seat. And I'm just like, what the hell is this? Now they're going at it, and Jay has a triple B around his waist. And I'm like, holy shit, we're close to the title. MJF, get your shit back. Now they're going at it, and I'm just loving the whole thing with MJF fighting with his shirt all open or whatever. you know what? I could take whatever to give me. Now, at some point, we do have MJF holding the Triple B for like a good 10 seconds. And here he goes, going to knock Jay out with the title. But then Jay ducks that and ends up giving MJF a low blow. MJF falls to his knees because obviously that's what happens when you get hit in the balls. And Jay White takes the Triple B back. Oh, anyway, Juice wins and he celebrates with his buddies. And I'm just like, okay, it's getting interesting. I'm cool with this. What's going to happen when he goes against Juice Robinson? Honestly, I don't know. MJF has had the ring for 4 fucking consecutive years, the only winner to ever have it. So if we get someone else new, that's fine. MJF has moved on to having a Triple B. So I guess he really doesn't need it. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching my review. I do think that the show was okay. I did prefer the storylines compared to the matches here. The only one that I really think was really worth the watch was Kenny Omega versus Kyle Fletcher. Kyle is super, super talented. I see some really great things for him in the future. I'll be back tomorrow with my review on Ring of Honor. Bye.